video, you click on your video to watch the NKC. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Well, what's up, y'all? Dank here, bringing you with another Neverwinter video, and today we're just gonna go over like my new Celestial build and everything, and then I also want to go over like my older builds from the past modules, just so you can like see like the little breakthrough or whatever that I've like been going through per build. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. We will also be going over Module 29, Module 30, and Module 31, and then my current Celestial build as well. Yeah, so here's the build. Going into ALMD or MLMD, if you didn't have this master from MLMD, I had kept running it until I had the advanced version, and I believe the advanced version is set of 10% here. It's 8%. It's still doable to cap your CA. I had this same chest piece. If I didn't have this chest piece, like going into it, I had the I think it's in my bank, the one from Dragon Hunts, which nobody does Dragon Hunts now, so probably want to get your hands on it if you can. A lot of people don't do Dragon Hunts, but yeah, it was this one, literally the same bonus, just higher item level. So it's like an upgrade. Um, The next thing I had was the one previously from this, which was like MIC for the crit strike for single target. All these builds are single target, by the way, so yeah, just so you know. Yeah, this was single target. What did I have before this? I pretty much ran these from Master Demon Web Pits from first boss. I know some people are still doing the first boss form. I don't know if anybody still running these, but these were pretty decent to have as well. Obviously, got your perfect weapon set. If you can't get your hand on a perfect weapon set, the module before, I'll probably say the Solarium weapons or the AIC MIC weapons. If you don't have those either, like you can get your Stormforge weapons because these are pretty decent starting out if you really need like a really good weapon set if you don't have anything else. And you get those from Enough dot reaches. I think once you complete it, you can start quest line here and just follow that quest line and you'll get these weapons. They're pretty underrated. I don't know why people like don't run these. I know they don't give stats or anything, but they're really like really a really good baseline for if you need to like have starting out, especially in mid game. Like these, we're competing with the fucking Mirage weapons before they nerfed them. So yeah. Either those or the perfect set. The boots, I had damage boots, but if you don't want to run damage, I think at the time, if you had your hands on these from Master Demon Web Pits, you could wear these. Um, you could have worn these if you farmed hunts and Demo or Menzo. Um, Another one you could have worn. Um, yeah, I think that was it at the time. Or actually, there's another pair of boots I have in my bank I used to wear, but they were very situational. Whenever you have less than 80%, get 7% crit save if you really needed it. But I think this is Warlock and Wizard specific only, so yeah. Um, I ran demo with these three artifacts. I don't believe, I think Crystal was out. I don't think Beacon was out. So if you can't get any of these three, I used to run the Tentacle Rod in one of these slots, as well as either Spelljammer, or you can also run Assassin's Dice. I know they're lower item level, but the stats at the time when I had this build was like really good. And go in order. Same neck and waist, Sentinel set, Masterwork set, still best in slot. The ring is from Demon Web Pits. More accuracy and AP gain. Once again, if you couldn't get that ring, I suggest this one from Advanced Moon Dancer, which also gives you accuracy and you don't lose too much item level as well. Here you have power. These are from the MIC dungeon, and you only get it out of like the last chest. If you can't get this ring, another option you could have, hmm, you can run this sapphire ring just to have more accuracy. Just know you'll lose your crit strike and crit save flat stats. If not, I think I ran this one for stats if I needed it, but I didn't think I need that much CA. You could run this for more crit strike, but you know, it's another plug in, plug out type of thing. Cause like I said, like everything was at 90%, and I'm not even buffed up yet, and my item level is a little bit higher because of my mount bolster. It did not look like this. Obviously, I know Cavalry's haste wasn't out then, so you could have run um that one Cavalry something. Never use it was there's a 3 slot and 4 slot one that reduces your encounter cooldowns by X amount. Um, but I believe at the time I ran double tack with executioners, menders was here, and then I had enchanter's hex. Um, as I said in my previous Warlock video, enchanter's hex only works with Hadar's scraps, but I wore for this build back then. Then I had the damaged shirt. Again, you don't have to run it, but I gained accuracy from it because I needed it. Oh, didn't mean to go out of that. But if you don't need that shirt or you want to run it for damage, yet again, you can go back to this corroded shirt. You can buy it from the seal vendor or buy it from the auction house. People are still selling these and they're pretty cheap to get if you need that 5% combat advantage. Then I wear these pants for crit strike. Just because there weren't any really good pants to wear when all ALMD, I call it almond or MLMD, whatever it came out. There was literally nothing really that we could wear. I think at that time I was wearing the seal stuff. I can't even the right one. Whichever stat you needed, like this one's give crit save, and then this one give accuracy. Whichever one you need the most. If you don't need those flat stats, you can also go for defense and income healing. They help your defense and healer out to healing you or whatever. But yeah, this is pretty much the build. And again, I switched my stuff around to fit the module. I think the Fire Gates came out at this time. I don't think we had Sword Coast Tactician. I think I ran Rage of Flames, which are dealt with precision, Lightning Flash, obviously, and Celestial Movement. And then, yeah, so let's buff up and see where we at. I did run a Potency at the time. I did run a Sorbet, one of these, and I always ran Sunlords. So even with that, like your cap and power, if you go over, great, because currently you can go even more to 120. Accuracy is capped because I'm at 59. With lightning, that would be 69, actually 70, because that's 10.8 from that. So 70% already. 7.5 here, 7.5 here, that's 15%. So I'm at 70, 85%. So not too bad, but I'm 5% off. Combat advantage, 68. Again, 10% here, 78 plus 7.5 from here. So 8.6 plus 7.5 get you, yeah, so 8.6 plus 7.5 get you 16.1 plus that 10% plus 68.6 will get you to 94.7. Oh boy, now you're capped on combat advantage, which you're really not, but currently combat advantage goes to 120s, but for that specific dungeon, it goes to 90%. So yeah, great. Crit strike, you have 69.5 plus your 10.8 from your lightning flash here. Then you got 5% from this weapon set. Then you also have 0.75 added from here. And these pants, you don't have to include that, but that's already there. But make sure that your stamina's over 75%. If you're wondering if you're not critting, it's because you're not over 75%. Like you're moving a lot, your animation canceling a lot. So just be mindful of those 75% stamina stuff. And voila, crit strike will end up at 92.8. You notice I haven't included any companion buffs, so this build is more than viable for ALMD or MLMD going in as a fresh mid game or trying to get to end game player. And then crit sev is already capped at 90%, but I'll go over it again. The only thing that's giving me crit sev is these weapons, and that's 5%. And that's me fully buffed up, so you're already capped at 90%, but I just added just for the purposes. 93 plus 5, and then here was Keen Eyes, which wasn't out. You can use the other one that gives crit sev at 9%. But again, each build is different, will be different from mine, so use what you want. I think for this build, since I'm lacking accuracy, I would actually use the accuracy one, but I need to find the other one that's for crit sev. Yeah, potent precision, that's what it's called. But because for this specific build, I would actually go for accuracy, which would be, nope, not that one. I just seen it. Hold on. Where you at? 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 Not defense, not crit strike, crit sev, not CA, not crit strike. There we go. Accuracy. And I know I'm going to be 4% over, but for the build's sake, just to make sure we capped everything. So I got 90 here, 90 here, more than enough here, 90 here, and then this is way above. So 93 plus the weapon set, which is, I'll inspect for you if you don't know about this. Increase your damage by 3%, and then you also gain 1% for every 5 seconds, going up to 5%. So that means you get 5% crit sev after like what, 20 seconds? So 93 plus 5 is give you 98.1. Already Captain crit sev. Woohoo! Alright, now you're in module 30, a module in. Um, Let me configure. Alright, and now we're back with a similar build. This is for module 30, so the dungeon this pertains to is, I think, Master Dread Sanctum. Yeah, Dread Sanctum Master. Requires 105. We just previously did the Mad Dragon, which is like 100, but on private, that's how you get away with item level. Private, you can go in at 95, and then Dread Sanctum going at 100. Alright, so Dread Sanctum build, very similar to my previous build, but I swapped out Marcos for the pistol artifact. So if you can get your hands on this, really good stats, more item level, more damage. Yep, yep. So again, same helmet, 10% CA, same chest piece. Both of these from Master Layout of the Mad Dragon for accuracy and combat advantage. Same arm piece from MIC. Again, if you can't get that for single target, once again, it's a single target focus. You can get these from Master Demon Whip Pits. Another weapon set. So I swapped off the Perfect and put the Bismuth on. These give you 3.5 power and 5% crit sev. And I'll explain that reason here shortly. The boots. These are very questionable. Um, I've seen people was against those boots when they were out, because they give you, let's see here, so they give you combat and crit sev, and then accuracy if your or action points are less than 80%, but it gives you 10% while you're in that dungeon, which to me, I think is a no-brainer. That just means, um, artifact rotation daily. It just means after my daily, I'll gain that 10%. So before you use your daily, just know you're short 10% accuracy, or however much that you needed to cap accuracy, which I believe in this build was just 5% or 4%, something like that. But yeah, it's really up to you. If you need a CA rather than accuracy, be my guest. Use these accuracy. I mean, these combat advantage boots. These also are from Demon Web Pits. There's, like I said earlier, another alternative you could use are these boots, but again, almost the same buff, but different stat, different rating, different item level. And they also came from Demon Web campaign store. Same thing here, neck and waist, same thing. Ring from MIC. Once again, if you can't get a power ring, you can go for stats and work around that. Same thing here for accuracy, ring accuracy, Demon Web Pits, Master Demon Web Pits to be exact. Shirt, I actually swapped off my damage shirt from earlier because it's going to give you 0.5 for other maps because Dread Sanctum isn't a fire thing map, so kind of useless using that. So swapped over to the CA because I needed more CA. And again, with this new module, not new module, but module 30 came out with the stat caps. So it was looking real rough trying to cap those stats. Then these pants gives you 9% crit save. I was like, oh yeah, as a DPS, as a healer, at that specific time, you needed these to cap crit save because it was kind of hard to cap crit save at that time. And yeah, bolster, pretty much the same. I believe this is when Cavalry's Haste came out. Could have been a little bit later. Could be wrong. But again, if you don't have Cavalry's Haste, you could swap this out for Menders. Same thing here, Tactician, Double Tactician, Executioner, Enchanters, Cavalries, or Menders. Um, yeah, I did not run Armor Breaker. I ran Ferocity. That's this right here with your Toad. Same gear. This is from LMD. MMMD, that campaign, farming those giants, getting those currency, farming your campaign to buy these or have them drop from a giant. If you just farm giants, these will drop, but it's really, really rare. Would not recommend. I believe Keen Eyes was not here. It was Cute Senses. And then here I know I had CA because it was really hard to cap CA back then. And yeah, I got demo here as well. Pistol was like the new artifact. I think the other new artifact around that time, maybe it was Armor Egg. I can't remember when this dropped, but I believe this had dropped. If this did drop, I would probably replace uh, hmm, one of these two, either the beacon or the crystal. Can't remember when it actually came out. So yeah, let's look at this. Let's buff up real quick. I did have this. At that time, Module 30, I ran Hot Wings. I ran Prime Rib because I needed power. Remember I said the stats did increase. And I had a Sunlords. Let's check it out. So I have, pull up the calculator because, once again, too early. So with the boom, I'm at 98.6 that I mentioned earlier. Raptor gives you 18. You should have a Runic in your group. That's 2.25. Mystic is another 2.25. Again, your tank and healer should have one of those on. Either your tank runs Runic and your healer runs Mystic, or your healer runs Runic and your tank runs Mystic. It's 2.25 plus 18, 2.25. from Raptor. That would get you a solid 121 power. So power is capped. Accuracy. We are at 67.7. Don't forget about your lightning flash. Oh, you forgot to mention. So overloads. These Sword Coast Tactician was scarce, but I started to run these around that time. So yeah, these give you 5% power in CA, 2% total damage. I'm not sure if that's everywhere or in the location. I can't confirm it because it's really hard to test, but whatever. That was precision, Sword Coast. Alright, back to that accuracy. 67.7. Lightning Flash gives you 10.8 once fully procced, which is all the time. Your Masterwork set gives you 7.5. Your chest piece gives you 7.5. Here we are at 93.5% for accuracy. So even with or without these boots, like I didn't even include it in that. I probably just wore these for um, item level at that point, and for the stats. I mean, you could run the if you did run the Wild Space campaign, which I skipped over because not a lot of people liked it. Where's collections? There's damage boots you could have got. Yeah, these ones right here. A lot of people was running these before MSOD had came out, which is the current module. These boots gave you 2% in non-wild space, which was better than almost any damage boots at the time. So arguably I could swap it out, but I don't have those because they never dropped for me. So yeah. So yeah, power is cap, accuracy is cap, and I didn't even go over the portobello for my power. So yeah, that's there. Combat advantage, we're at 79%. We got our helmet that gives 10%. We got our chest piece that gives 7.5. Then we have our acute senses that gives you 9%. And I go over it again. We have portobello 3.5, tutors 5%, flapjack another 5%. So that's 13 plus 13.5% for CA. And we're sitting at a whopping 119%. So I'm only missing 1% CA. So that's a lot of damage you're missing. But yeah, can try to make that work. Moving on to crit strike, 66.8. Don't forget, you get 10.8 from here. And then from here, your weapon set, you get 7.5. I think that's about it for crit strike. Yeah, so at this time, crit strike was kind of low at 85.1. But based on my item level and my rating, I can probably gain 1.8 to have my accuracy sitting at 86.9. It was still doable though. Moving on. Crit save 96.8. Don't forget about your weapon set, the Bismuth weapon set. These gave you 5%. Alright, going back, I probably could wear the perfect set to make up for this and lose some power because I'm overcapped on power. So can make that adjustment just to cap crit strike easy. But yeah, going back here, crit save gives you 5%. What else gives you crit save? Oh yeah, the pants. These give you 9%. So with that included, I'm at 110.8, so I'm missing like 9.2% of crit save. Um, At that point, I think we ran a Sartell in the group to give us an extra 5%, and it's like a 90% uptime. So if your group does have a Sartell, like I said, Portobello, Tutor, Flapjack, Sartell, and then a Driss, with that included, I'll be at 115.8, and Sartell gives you 5% crit sev and also 5% action point gain. So in the right moments, I'll be at 115.8, and I'm missing like 4.2 crit sev. At that time, I didn't know what else to increase my crit sev aside from changing this CA Golden Cat to a wolf, but I don't have a wolf. A wolf gives you 9% crit sev in your utility slot, but if I did that, then I would be down combat advantage. So I probably could, if I did that, if I had the wolf, I could probably swap this out for 5% and just be 4%. I don't know. What would be worse? 4% undercap of CA or 4% undercap crit sev? Who knows which is worse? I believe the 4% less CA is bad because I'm already 1% off, so that would be 5%. So no. So yeah, capped. Nope, missing 1% CA. Missing what 4.8% for crit strike, and then missing 4.2% crit sev. Still was doing some damage, but it was doable at that specific time. That is Master Dread Sanctum Module 30. And that was that old build, so let's go to my M side build. Going in, I did not have this on. So after farming M side and going into M side, I obviously had the old stuff on. But after I got my gear and whatnot, let me do this because you don't know what already you could be on. This would be a good example. Yeah. So you'll notice like a bunch of stuff changed. My rings change, arm piece change, weapon set change, boots change, new artifacts for more stats, higher item level. As you see, the item level drop increased from 106 to 107, almost 108 to now 120. Huge jump. So yeah, in this build, things are kind of different. Like a lot of things. Why is this here? Oh yeah, I was doing dragons earlier. Come on, fix that. Double check everything. Yeah. So I'll just go over the build strictly. The fuck? So yeah, this is the build for MSOD after farming it for a few. So I have the CA helmet again, the same chest piece we went over. These arms just for stats. Not sure if the damage really works or not. The M side weapon set. We got the stat boots here. We have the armor egg on. It replaced one of those artifacts as well as the night flame sensor. Um, really good stat wise. I love these. And then especially the assassin's knife. The assassin knife will replace your blood blast pistol, but if you don't have these two, or at least one of these two, have one of these on, and then if you don't have this one, don't have that one, just have your blood pass pistol in one of those slots for stats and item level. And then I try to not include my main arty into the build because you never know which arty you have to use. Like sometimes I'll have to use Marco, sometimes I have to use Spelljammer, sometimes I have to use Blast Scepter, even as a DPS. Like you never know. You should be able to flex if you're gonna do master content. Never pistol. Sometimes Miss Lara, sometimes Demo. beacon, crystal, or even charm. I don't have it upgraded, but I can always just upgrade it to mythic. It's no problem. Or even grace a pillar if people run that, or needs to run that, or that's like the last option. Even tentacle isn't, or was it dice? One of these is kind of decent to use. I think it's dice, yeah, because it lasts 15 seconds. And yeah, but for this purpose, I'm gonna specifically put crystal here. You know what? I'm gonna put demo here because people like to argue that demo, whatever. All right, same neck and waist here for the accuracy and recharge speed. I have the blood veil ring for CA. Then I have the crit sev ring. Both of these are from MSOD. Um, arm piece from MSOD, weapon set from MSOD, boots from MSOD. If you don't have this, like going into it, like I said earlier, I had the crit strike one from MIC. Again, if you don't have it, master demon web pits. This arm piece will be your best friend. Weapon set, again, if you don't have M-side weapons, and if you don't need stats from weapons and just want to run item level, this is why I run it, for damage more item level. But if you need to, for stat wise, you can wear perfect or the bismuth, depending on what stats you need. Again, perfect gives you 3% damage, 5% crit strike, crit save. Bismuth gives you 3.5 power and 5% crit save. Boots, again, you can go back to these from Master Demon Web Pits, just for the CA. Weirdly enough, if you want to be crazy, you can run these. I wouldn't suggest it because you wouldn't be relying on accuracy. And if you lack in crit save, flat stats, these aren't too bad either. Because 10,000 rating is 10%, and if you don't have that 10,000 rating and you need that, like let's say I'm at 120 item level, right? And my crit save is sitting at, instead of 129, it's sitting at 120. Well, in a group, I can put these on, gain that 10%, and instead of subtract 9% from my rating, instead of 109, 19%, or something like that. But yeah, so that's that. This shirt is a damage shirt. Um, I think these are needed when you're in there because it just improves your damage by a lot. And then you get 10% crit avoid, combat advantage from here as well. And then there's a bonus that gives you 2% CA, so a no-brainer here. Enchantments, they're a little different. I didn't really go over the enchantments, but I'll just hover over them real quick on the offensive one so you can just see what I have on. I always have garnets here for your forte. It's really needed for really almost all classes, unless you're a healer and need outgoing healer. Yep, this build uses Sword Coast and Devil's Precision, Celestial Lightning, and then something different here, running recharge speed. Because recharge speed has like really helped. Like 6% is almost a whole second that you get off per encounter. And if you're in a dungeon for like 30 minutes to complete, if you're saving 1 second, good example, you're saving 1 second, this is 8.5, which would have been 9.5. Alright, let's actually look at it. Remove it. Why did it? It's because this buff. Let's wait till this buff is over. Alright, so we went from 8.5. Yeah, so 0.5 because these cooldowns, the shorter your cooldown, the less you gain from recharge speed, but any gain still helps. So I went from 8.5 seconds to a 9 second. Um, Hadars, bigger cooldown, 13.5. Let's equip it real quick to now 12.8. Huge. 9.4 for Killing Flame. From a damn near 10-second cooldown. So just this enchant in itself helps because we're not even including, like you saw earlier, the boon have procced, which it is right now. Your Master Broom from Blessed Advantage, which gives you 15% recharge speed for 10 seconds as well. That's that 6% power like we mentioned earlier. Let's see if it's procs. Wait till it procs again. Yeah, there we go. Now we're at what, 7.5, 11.3, 8.3. So we pretty much went from 10 seconds to an 8.3, which almost an 8 second, which is huge. So that's why I run that. I think this is beneficial for almost all DPS classes, except for those classes that struggle with AP gain. With our animation council of Dark Helix and some of our other animation councils with these as well, into a Soul Scorch and Hellish Rebuke generating AP, like with all this dot and stuff going on, and especially with our puppet. Switch that back. Um, yeah, it's really, really big. Pause. Yep, same mount bolster. Cavalry's Enchanters, Executioners, Double Tactician. Improved companion gear here. Swap to Keen Eyes for the 9.6 crit sev. Raptor, Minsk, Teary, same thing. And Celestial Lion. Again, if you need stats, change this to something that gives you stats. Like an Alchemist, you can go Goat and Cat. You can go the Shaman, like whichever stats you need, input it there. Because stats, capping your stats is the first thing, and then getting that damage is the second thing. So let's buff up. Potency, 5% crit sev. Hot Wings, you can read it yourself. Power, here, Sunlords. So let's implement this into our calculator. So power without the boon is at 89.2 plus 18 plus your, and this is a 10-man setup, so it's going to be different. Gonna add more things. So Runic is 2.25 plus Mystic is 2.25, and then there should be a Trine, that's another 2%. I believe that's everything, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't think whatchamacallit would give. Yeah, this gives CA, and I'm capped on CA flat stats. So your third support will have Pack Tactics, and then your fourth one should have Providence as well as DPS. Should be running that. Where is it? I don't know my alphabet. There you go. Providence, because it gives more damage than Ferocity whatever would. Especially since everybody on the team takes damage, it just keeps stacking. I know there's like a 2 second before it drops, but within those 2 seconds, like if 8 people are getting hit, it's bound to proc. Like it's almost a no-brainer, and like I would say trials in general. But yeah, for me specifically in my build, I'm unable to get this crit sev anywhere else, so unfortunately I can't run Providence on this specific build because I kind of needed to get my flat rating up to cap my crit sev. So yeah, let's go over the caps. So like I said earlier, power without the boom, 89.2 plus 18 plus 2.25 plus 2.25 from Runic and Mystic, and then plus 2 from Etring is gives you 113.7. With these boots, it gives you another 5%, so that's 118.7 of power. And then if you include This boon, which should be up all the time, is another 6%. So I'm at 124 power, 124 percentage. Huge. Accuracy, we're at 61. Let's go with our enchant here. Speed 10.8. Our sentiment set, hold on, gives you 7.5. Plus our chest piece is another 7.5. So with this, I'll be sitting at 86.8. So that's like 3.2% that I'm missing here. CA. Can I change anything here? Possibly swap this to one of these. I think that should be fine. Alright, so CA is sitting at 75.3. You got 10% from your helmet. You also got 10% from here. From your pants. This is already included, so don't count it. Chest piece gives you 7.5. You got tutor, flapjack, portobello. That's 13.5. And then I think that's everything. So with that, I'm at 116.3. Oh yeah, this build should not be on this line. It should be on Azov. Yep. So this fixed my combat and accuracy problem. Now accuracy is capped because it was missing 3.2, so now I'm capped. And then combat advantage is at 116.3 plus that 4.5, which would be at 120 exactly. Crit strike, you're at 72.4. You got your lightning flash, which is 10.8. You got your boots here, which is another 5%. And then just off of that alone, for crit strike, giving your fortes is high as well. As a warlock, it affects us a lot. That alone gives us 88.2. So with Etrine, because Etrine gives you 2% power, 2% crit strike. With the Etrine, I'll be capped at 90. This didn't include the Pally that gives you 4%. Didn't include a Blue Fire Eye, which should probably be in the group 2 for another 3% crit strike. So with that, I'm capped. Now we're into crit sev. So we're at 108. I believe the only thing that gives us crit sev is this right here, which is plus 5. It gives me 113. And if you add the keen eyes, gives you 122.6. So I'm 2% over on crit sev, but still I'm capped. So 2% over here, capped on CA perfectly, capped on accuracy with that swapping to here, and then I'm capped on power. And that's this build. Alright, so here's the new and improved Celestial build. I didn't make this one myself, kind of copied it from somebody, so shout out to bro. Let me fix this. But yeah, this build's a little bit different as well. A little crazy. Got more damage percentage as well. So yeah, the potential is really there. This would be Providence because this is for 10 man and 10 man content only. Right here. So buffed up, same buffs as last time. Crit sev, hot wings, power, guild food, invoke, CA. Okay. So Same helmet, chest piece, not gonna go over that. Perfect weapon set for crit save, and 3% damage. I got the celestial boots for damage, really good rating as well, 9% damage. Arm piece for accuracy and CA. Same two rings as before, same neck and waist, mastercraft, same arties pretty much, and whatever anything can fit right here. And then your CA pants and your damage shirt from inside. These celestial gears from inside as well. Crimson March, whatever. We're running these offensive ones for the stats. We're going to Rage of Flames instead of Devil's Precision, and Sword Coast Tactician with your Celestial Lightning. Mount Buster, different. We took away Enchanter's Hex for Artificer's Enticement. This is the one I was thinking about. There's another one that's 3 slot. Yeah, Artificer's Persuasion, and I think it's 2 seconds instead of 3. And yeah, same as before, double attack, executioners, cavalries, same setup here, same stuff, same key knives. Bolsters the same, so my utilities now damage. So let's look at the stats. So power, is it procs? Yeah, it's procs. Fully procs, let's do proc, 96.8. Plus 18 from Raptor, plus your 2.25 Runic, 2.25 Mystic, plus 2% from Etring. We're at a whopping 121.3, so we're overcapped by 1.3. Accuracy is at 53.4. That's a little low, which is okay. We have 10.8 from here. We have 7.5 from here. We have 7.5 from here. Then we have 8% from here if it's single target. You do lose these stacks once there's like a bunch of enemies around you for a long period of time, but these are pretty much majority of the battle if it's single target, especially in M-side when there's ads and stuff. So yeah, with all that included, our accuracy is at 87.2. We're missing like a 2.8, which I believe it's okay to lose accuracy of all these stats, because it does matter, but it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter. Don't listen to that. It does matter. 2.8 is a lot of damage. Not a lot, but it's damage you're losing. But yeah, I still haven't figured out a way to cap that. Actually, if I had a, kind of need the power though. If I had a single, I think it's the citrine. It gives you accuracy. You know what? I think Pack Tactics. Yeah, how much does Pack Tactics give you? Just thought about that. It gives you combat. Was it Mystic then? I think it's Mystic. Yep. Mystic gives you 2.25. So actually, based on my rating, with that included, I'll be at 89.45. So I'm actually almost capped by like 0.6%. So I'm 0.6% short in accuracy. Let's dive on into CA. So we're at 77.9. We got the 10% from here, plus the 10% from here. This 4% is already included. It's called Envelop Rage, and it's here on our buff bar, so it's already included. Don't have to add that. Chest piece 7.5. Then I don't think we have anything else that procs it. So let's add the tutor, flapjack, portobello, which is another 13.5. And yeah, our CA is at 118.9. But like I said earlier, you should have 3 supports. Pack tactics at 2.25. So that brought my, yep, because I'm missing rating. I'm missing like a good 4% from rating. So yeah, that fixes it. So my combat advance will be at 121.15. Perfect. Crit strike is at 64.8. Now this is why I said this build is reliant in trials. It's like a trial only build because the crit strike is abysmal. So the only thing for crit strike I can think of is Celestial 10.8, Lightning Flash, and your weapon set gives you another 5%, which will give me to 80. Now if we have a Pally that's running a crit aura, which we should, this be a 4%. Blue Fire Eye is a 3%, and then a Etrine is a 2%, which will bring me at an 89.6. But I have to have all 3 of those buffs included, or this does not work whatsoever. Okay. Then we got Crit Sev 106 plus weapon set gives you 5 plus Keen Eyes, which is a 9.6, and I'm basically sitting at 120.6. So to be honest, everything is capped, and I've got damage from here. I got a higher item level. Well, I'm actually lower item level than my previous build, but the damage you get, like you get 9% here, 3% here, 5% here, 2% if this shit works, and then you also gain another 9% here, while still capping your stats essentially. So even though you lost 3,000 item level, which equates to 3% damage, this weapon set literally negates it, and you gain like 18, not 18, like 23%, 25. Just 2% actually works. And yeah, that's the Warlock build. If you have questions or comments, concerns about builds or advice, please let me know. Stay tuned.